Oh man, you know, I really don't like some of these guys when they change the tires. Hey everyone, Backcountry for Life here. So today I'm going to reverse my tire. I'm riding on Enduro Trail, Mitas Enduro Trail XT Plus Dakar version on the front tire. I absolutely love this tire. And I've ridden 3,795 miles on this front tire. And the back side is wearing down more than the front. So I think it's time I can get another close to 4,000 miles, I think. So the mistake that some people make is when they're checking their tire tread depth, engaging that, they're taking their indicator measurement tool and they're going all the way to the bottom where the tire is. So they're measuring between the tread and they're reading out a number, or they'll do it this way. What you really should be doing is you should be measuring your tread depth down to the tread wear indicator bar. So you take it, get an example here, and you put your little plunger right on the tread depth indicator and then go to the tire level there. And that will give you the correct reading, because you shouldn't be riding your tire beyond the tread wear indicator. It's just dangerous, especially off-road. And on-road, you're getting high temperatures, high speed, high temperature, so you want to avoid that. So definitely replace your tire when you get down to these tread wear indicators. But you could see on this tire, I don't know if you can tell, but I started out at 30 seconds of tread depth, and that's to the tread wear indicator, not to the bottom of the tire. And so you can, I don't know if you can tell, but the back side is wearing out a little bit more than the front side. That's one of the reasons why I'm going to be rotating my tire. But so 3,795 miles, that's how far I've gone. I've only worn through 30 seconds of that. And so by that calculation, I have another 7,000 miles or so on this tire. This Dakar tire, although it's pretty firm, they got firm lugs, it is a mean tire. I absolutely love this tire. And if it's gonna go 7,000 miles, I mean, keep in mind, I've done probably 60-40 on this tire, 60% dirt, 40% road, and this thing is wearing absolutely amazing. So in total, I mean, I'll be at 11,000 miles on this tire. A little more, a little less, depending on how aggressive. But I also ride usually fully loaded with this bike. I usually have my Moto Nomax bag up on the front that adds more weight to the front. That includes 2 liters of water typically when I ride. And so this tire is just wearing amazingly well. But what I'm now going to do is just kind of take you through me rotating this tire. So hopefully you can see how that goes. There's plenty of tire videos online on YouTube, rotation, what have you. But just thought I'd take you along the experience that I'm going to go on for this. What you want to do first is always loosen up these axle pinch bolts. You can loosen that up, but loosen this up, loosen these up. This is the axle spindle, and I've seen people try to take off their wheel without loosening these pinch bolts, so don't make that mistake. Then what you want to do is loosen the bolts to your brackets on your brakes on both sides here. Now, how do I keep my bike from falling forward? Let me show you. You'll want to do this before you take off your front tire, obviously, but go to Home Depot, go to Home Depot and buy a 50-pound sandbag and throw it on the back of the bike, and that will prevent the bike from falling forward after you remove the tire. I don't know if you can see this, but once you remove the caliper, you just take a bungee and hold it up right there so it's not in the way. It's still out of the way, but it's not just hanging, putting pressure on the line. On this side, then you'll loosen up the axle there and pull that all the way out. And there you have it. All right, I got the wheel off, but how do I know which side is which? Well, this is the ABS side. My bike has ABS, so I can tell by this, and that sits on the left side of my bike, so I know that my tire was rotating this way. So what I like to do is I like to just mark up something that's light on one side, like that. So now I know when I switch the tire over, if I still have this marking on this side of the ABS, then I put the tire, I rotated it or flipped it around on the wrong side. So this needs to be on the back side once I'm done flipping this tire around. All right, I got the wheel off, but how do I know which side is which? Well, this is the ABS side. My bike has ABS, so I can tell by this, and that sits on the left side of my bike, so I know that my tire was rotating this way. So you can let the air out, or you can take this handy valve stem remover tool to let the air out, let it drop in there, and then just slowly left loose. And my tires are tubed, so I'm also going to have to pull out the tube in this. There we go. And just check that for damage. This looks good. Now a flat tire. I can feel it. Make sure before you try and remove your tire from the wheel, the rim, that you loosen the nut that holds the tube in there. Because then you try prying this, you're gonna rip the tube inside. So you want to make sure that that nut is off. So get yourself a couple of your tire irons and get yourself one of these Motion Bead Pros. You just stick the fork in there, crank it down, and that should allow you to pop the bead. You just kind of work your way around here. Like so. And now you might not even need to do it. And just make sure you don't pinch your tire. other side. Don't be shy. Get some soapy water and get it all down in there. No need to be shy with it. Then what you want to do is get your wrenches here, and you see the curved part, you're going to put it down so that you can go underneath and grab the tip of the tire, the edge here, and if you want, you can hold it down by putting it under the rotor there. You also want to make sure that the other side is inside the middle of the rim there, the edge of the tire, so that you can pull it up on the other side here. There we go. Just want to make sure that's down and give that another pop there and put it under, and then you just kind of work your way around. And as you get one, you just keep taking the middle one out. So move it down just to where it stops. Get it up under there. There we go. Put that underneath. Take the middle one out, and then just keep kind of working it along. I keep using the wrong side here. And you might be able to just, at this point, easily start to pop it over around. But you definitely want the soap, because that is going to make a difference. And we're just about there. You see, I've never taken that original one out. That kind of helps. I don't like to do this on rear tires. Front tires, no problem. Rear tires, what a pain. Now at this point, what I like to do is take out the tube. I can grab it here. It's so slippery. There we go. Got it. And just pull it out down towards the valve stem. The valve stem takes a little bit of work to get out. Plus I'm using heavy duty tubes in this front tire, which I always run heavy duty tubes. Now what you might have to do sometimes is lift up to push that valve stem up through the hole to get it out. Oh man, you know, I really don't like some of these guys when they change the tires. They didn't. I had some guys put the tube on, change this new tire out because I didn't want to deal with it, so I paid them $20, and they didn't even put the valve stem through the hole on the protector. Really frustrating. Really frustrating. So now it's on the side of that hole instead of, I don't know if you can see that still. Got it. But I don't know if you can see this inner liner here that protects the tube from touching these bolts. They had it on the side. They didn't have the tube right in the middle of the hole. So that's pretty frustrating, to say the least. Let's see if I can give you a better view here. Right here, you could see that they actually put it like this when they put the valve stem in, instead of putting it through the hole. So now I have an almost ripped rim strip on this. So I'm gonna have to get a new one, because I don't want to chance it from that snapping and potentially puncturing my tube out on the trail. Now it's time to get this tire completely off the rim. Again, lots of soap. No need to be shy. There we go. And even on the inside here. Go on. Just what you want to do is soak that all the way around. And then you come on this side. And you can pretty much try to get under here. And then you just kind of, sometimes you can just, if you got enough soap, there's probably easier ways to do this. Come on, puppy. There we go. Whew, just like that. All right. Now you want to get your tube and put the valve stem back in so that you can pump up this tube, check for leaks. Pump it up just a little bit. All right. All right, we got her pumped up. Perfect. Now we head over to the sink. Your sink up with some water. You can also use some soapy water and spray it around the tube if you like, but what you want to do is check for bubbles. So you just dip it down in there, let it sit for a bit, and if you see some bubbles coming up, then you got a leak. you want to kind of wait for a while because there's bubbles from when you put the tube in. Don't mistake those bubbles for a leak. But all right, and then you just kind of rotate it around and see if you have any fast bubbles come up out of the tube. That means you got a leak somewhere. All right, so I checked the tube. It's good. There's no leaks in it. So this tube is good to go to put back in. No need to put in a new tube every time if it's perfectly fine, unless it's really worn and really old. Probably want to replace it if it's really old, but this one is, I don't know, probably less than a year old, so we're good on this one. Also, if you're gonna reuse the tire, just give it a good look over. Check the leading edge, you know, the bead, the part where it sits in the bead. Just check that, make sure the grooves are good. There's nothing really checked. You can also check the inside, make sure the inside of the tire is good. Just kind of give it a quick, thorough review, and everything on that tire looks good. And you want to do the same thing on your rim. You know, check. You also, what I like to do is clean it, but I'm going to do that after I replace this rim strip here that has been neglected by the installers. I'm really upset about because they put it on the side. When I opened up this tire and looked inside, the valve stem was in just like that. Not good, not happy. It should have been like this, covered with the valve stem in. So just check for things like that. And now, since this one is almost about to rip, I don't want to chance it and having this springing and unloading while I'm riding inside. And just check all these surfaces for any sharp edges. You know, you want to make sure that they're clean. You might want to even sand some of it down a little bit on the side here, not where these grooves are, because that's what holds your tire onto the bead. So, you know, don't be sanding down any of these grooves, but maybe just lightly on the inside. You can use a high grain grit to do that. So I'll do that before I put all this back together. So you just kind of want to sand some of these rough edges here. Make sure they're not. I mean, some of these could have been caused by me taking off my rim from using the tire irons. You just get a cloth and kind of wipe it all down. And just spray some degreaser. Remember, I'm putting in a new strip of rim tape, and then just clean it. And you also want to make sure that there's no like sticky or slimy residue to prevent the new rim tape from sticking. Degreasing, I just like to do some soapy water too, just to kind of get rid of any of the residue. Or if you have something that doesn't cause residue in the first place to be on the rim, use that. Just make sure it's thoroughly dry. Go all the way around the rim. Make sure it's really dry and not slimy or residuey. All right, so I got myself some new rim tape. Get yourself a pair of scissors, and you want to locate the hole. You want to make sure that's lined up, and just start by pulling off the tape on the back here, and you work your way this way and then down and around. All right, there we go. We just line that up like so, and just start pressing it in the groove there. Make sure you're covering both sides. Now you just go all the way around, kind of eyeing it as you go down, making sure it's even on both sides. And you go in there and just make sure it's all smoothed out and tape sticking. I mean, blowing the tube itself, when you blow up the tube, it'll help. But I just like to make sure it's on there. Looks something like this when you're done. Well, it's time to put this rim back on, and if you remember, what you want to do is just soap it down. Make it nice and slick. Gonna spray it. Soap ain't gonna hurt the rim. And also tire here. And I gotta make sure I put it on the right side. So if you remember, I had the ABS on one side and the colored part of my name I colored, and I told myself I need to put it on the opposite side. Also, don't forget, you want to line up. I just forgot, sometimes tires have a dot on them, which is the lightest part. You want to line that up with the valve stem, like that. Should you pop it? There we go. Whew. One down. One side down. Alright, so you want to line it up and then line up your stem. Get your tube down there. Make sure it's not all twisted up. Again, make sure this tire is aligned with the dot. Oh. And then the hardest part's putting that stem in through the hole. Whew. Now once you get just enough of the stem through, put on that nut. Because as you move it around, you don't want that to come back out. Don't tighten it up, just lightly put it on so it doesn't come out. That way you can pull on it and kind of get it seated exactly where you need to, and make sure that inside the tube you have the tube sitting in there, and you're not going to pinch that tube. Now reverse the process. Get it slick. Come on, start spraying. Make sure that, I want to make sure this part's up, and very careful as you're doing this, you don't get that in there, you don't pinch the tube. Get a third one. Hang in there right till it's snug, and come in there right till it's snug. This part's pretty simple. You just go in until it stops, go in until it stops, go in until it stops. Kind of hold on one, step on that, take the other one out, pry it up, and oh, almost there, baby. Come on. There we go. Woo! Just what the doctor ordered. Now just on the old bicycle tires, I like to just kind of plop it around a few times, get it settled evenly in there. All right. Now it's bead popping time. You got spare tires, it's always a plus, and you don't have to use the bucket. All right, tighten up the bolt. I love these ratcheting wrenches. They're so good. Make sure I don't have a leak coming out of there. All right, well, that does that. Now, let's bump her up. them in there if you have to. I mean, I'm only at 4 psi, so. Some of these spots where it's might not see it. You want to hear that pop. Can always help it too. Hopefully that's not a leak. And then just, where'd my rag go? There. Make sure it's seated. Both sides. It's looking good. And that's looking seated as well. Alright, so time to balance the tire. What you're going to want to do is have some chalk, some tape, some wheel weights, and the components that go with your balancing stand. So first what we'll do is we'll slide that in there. Try and get it centered, and then we'll slide some of those. Just make sure that's somewhat centered, and then we can, oh, see that gets closer. Tighten this down right there. All right, and then we'll put just a rubber O-ring around that, keep it in place. And go on this side. That gets it nice and tight. Drop this down there, just like that. And then tighten that up. Get the other O-ring on. Now we can set it right here in the middle. And then we'll give it a little spin. And what we're looking for is waiting for it to stop any movement back and forth. The heaviest point is gonna settle at the bottom. And so what we'll do is we'll mark with the chalk at the top, and that's where we'll put our wheel weights. You want to do very small increments just to get it the best that you can. So again, here it's patience. So here we're just waiting. I should probably close the garage door because it's a little windy. Maybe the wind's blowing my tire around. All right, slowing down. And now you can see it's coming back, so it's definitely not balanced. Now it's picking up speed. And you just kind of sit here, watch it, and wait. Well, we're almost there. And also, before you start, it comes with a bubble. You want to make sure that's centered so that your balancing stand is actually centered. So there we go. It stopped, the heaviest part here. So we'll take some chalk and we'll just go right up here and mark it. All right, since it was moving quite a bit, I'm gonna do a couple of these 1/4 ounce weights here that I have. Just cut it like that, so I got 1/2 ounce right here, and then you want to take some tape, and we're just going to tape it. You don't want to actually put your wheel weights on now, just because you might have to add some more. So you just take a little bit of tape here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna just stick it right on the inside of where that was. Like that. So the wheel weight's there. And we'll give it another spin. Time to wait. Oh, man. That sandwich was good. Had enough time to go get myself some lunch. Come back, still spinning. I'm just kidding. I just threw away some trash, but yeah, this is just gotta be patient. All right, there we go. Let's see if it goes back. Oh, probably gonna need a little bit more weight. All right, let's mark it again. This time I'm just gonna do 1/4 ounce weight, and we'll go from there. So the wheel's balanced, it's the tire. It's not balanced. So we'll just get some tape, put it here, put it on the inside. And I like these Motion Pro weights, 1/4 ounce weights, because they're black. They blend in with the rim. If you have a silver rim, then get the silver weights, but just make sure that's on. Here we go again. Oh, let me center this, and let's do this again. Well, I just had my second lunch. Just kidding. Hopefully it just kind of spins and stops and doesn't go back. But now we have my weights at the bottom and the light part up at the top, and it didn't retract. So I think right now we're good to go, but we're gonna give it one more spin in the opposite direction. Time for a third lunch. So now it's just kind of, these weights are stopping in various places, which means, and the wheel's not retracting, which to me means that this wheel is balanced pretty well, because whenever it's spinning and then it just stops, it stops right there. There's no going back. The heavy part is not settling back to the bottom, which means that this tire is pretty well balanced now. So good news. 3 lunches later. All right. Let's see. Gonna be pretty good here. There shouldn't be any backspin. It's a very slow speed. And you come on. Very slow. Stops right there. Perfect. Good enough. All right, so what we can do now is we can remove the wheel weight and Clean the area. I do one wheel weight at a time so I don't get the quantity mixed up. Just kind of clean off where it's going to go. Dry it off so it's nice and clean. And then we'll remove the backing here. And stick it on like that, and do the same thing with the other weight. We now have a balanced wheel ready to put back on the bike. Time to do some cleaning. Clean this up first, and then we'll clean all these parts. The spindle, the axle, the spacers, clean those up. We're going to refit them with new grease. Do that for all those parts. All right, we'll get some grease and just put it on both edges. Put on both edges of your spacers. And on this bike, the spacers are the same, so there's no variation between the two. But you want to have some grease on there to reduce that friction. Grease up your axle too. There we go. Want to spin nice and freely there. All right. Now we can put her on. Make sure my ABS is on my right side. This is always the funnest part of the job. So I like to put on the brakes first. Come on. Kind of helps. I don't tighten them all the way down, but it just kind of helps line up the wheel. Getting back centered. Do that to the other side. Now I should be able to get this on. So a little bit of lifting. There we go. All right, now we just want to tighten everything up. Looks like that caliper came out. That's all right, I'll put it back in. Tightening everything up according to your torque specs. Don't forget your caliper bolts. Tighten down your axle. And then your last thing are your pinch bolts. Now once the wheel's on, and I haven't yet done the pinch bolts, but once I've tightened the axle nut, then I will then tighten the brakes. So I don't tighten the brake calipers until I have the wheel on torqued, because I don't want the calipers getting torqued in any way as I tighten this down. So this is the last part, and then we do it by whatever the torque is. So that's 28. Let's go here. I like using the digital torque meter. All right. And then we'll go to that. Make sure it's set at 28. And then we'll tighten this down. And as soon as it gives a solid beat, we're set. Perfect. You really don't want to tighten these down past torque. Do the same for the other side. All right. Take off the sandbag. Take that sandbag off, and then what I like to do is just go, and then it just give it a few pumps. And then I will tighten down those pinch bolts. And that, my friends, is the process from removing a tire to rotating the tire to fixing, repairing the tire, actually the wheel, rotating the tire, repairing the wheel with that tape, and then balancing the tire, and then getting it back on your bike. So I know there's a lot of videos out there, but this is how I do it at home. And it helps to have some of these tools, like a balancer, a stand. You could do it. There's videos out by there from other folks that show you how to do it using the peg on your bike and holding the wheel. But I thought I just wanted to show you using some of the classic tools. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, follow, hit that bell notification to get notifications of other videos that I put up on the channel. But I hope you enjoyed, and stay safe riding out there.